Welcome back, everyone, to Lesser Known Operators. I'm your host, Nicholas Allen, and my guest today, returning guest, Aaron Blaine, one of the original, I think episode 6. And then we recorded another one, but we never got to release that one. So now he's back promoting his monthly subscription box. Company's called Wild Ops Box, which is rewilding youth, rebuilding legacy, reconnecting fathers and caregivers and kids through hands-on adventures that teach real-world skills, emotional intelligence, and the power of teamwork. Monthly subscription box, all kinds of goodies in there. Learn how to navigate, maybe start a fire, cut some kindling. I don't know. Sounds pretty cool. Can't wait to get one for my nephews here in a few months. I appreciate you guys. I'll have links to Aaron and Wild Ops Box socials in the show description. As always, today's episode is brought to you by the Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. Precision Wellness Group helps you restore balance, unlock vitality, and fuel your momentum through bioidentical hormone therapy and evidence-based personalized telemedicine. Dr. Taylor Bosley is a board-certified physician, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Green Beret. So he knows where you've been, where you want to go, and how to get you there. And he is an actual doctor that can prescribe you actual medicine. It's a bonus. If TRT, HRT, hormones, testosterone, peptides, aesthetics, GLP-1s are something you've been looking into for a while now, or just starting to look into, look no further than Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Walk in person, telemedicine. Use code LKO20 on your initial consultation paperwork to save 20% on said consultation. I do appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, pass these episodes along. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys and enjoy the show. Aaron Blaine, welcome back to Lesser Known Operators.
Good to be here, man.
Fuck yeah. No, it's good to see you. What a crazy fucking ride it's been since episode 6 or something that you and I started off with, something like that. Oh, man.
You're just getting off. You were just launching, getting off your feet. You're doing it.
Yeah. And now it's, God, since at that time, I've been across the country. We got over 100 episodes. So many people. It's been a crazy amount of work, but it's very satisfying.
It's fun to watch, man. I can see it.
It's fun to be part of with everybody else, though. Like, you got your thing, and Adam's got his thing, and like all my friends that I've run into, they've got their thing, and I'm like, let me help, let me help you.
Well, you obviously are doing something right.
I'm trying. It's easier to sell other people than it is to sell yourself.
That's the truth, really. But, I think that's how we do sell each other, and that's how we help each other, is like our reputation and supporting our network of people that we know are doing great things. Just for instance, I'm sitting here holding a G-Chief leather wallet I got sent by the guy that I can't remember his name, but dude, he crushed it. And he sent me a couple wallet kits for my kids. And dude, it's good stuff. I love doing that too.
Chris Murillo?
That's right. Chris.
Yeah.
Good dude.
He's great. He's been great. And, that's so true. It's, it's always, we want to help other people, to the detriment of ourselves as well. Hey, let me help you. If you need help, reach out. Let me do this for you. And we kind of put our own thing to the side because we're trying to give away more of ourselves and then take care of ourselves. But that's then the big, one of the phrases I said the most over the last year was, be careful who you let drag you into hell.
Mm-hmm.
And always cognizant of that, especially with some of the subjects that I've been talking about and unfortunately having to talk about over and over again. It's very sad stuff, but I guess somebody's got to do it.
Reality.
And it is reality. I mean, yeah. What a community, though. What a community. It's not as shitty as I think everybody makes it seem. It's just overshadowed by one occasional shitty thing that happens, and then we blow it all out of proportion, and then it overshadows everything good going on. Like North Carolina, right? The hurricane that went through, terrible event. But the list of things that Green Berets did down there that nobody's ever going to hear about, that I'm having a tough time compiling because we don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, hey guys, listen up. Listen to all this fucking amazing shit people did, and nobody's ever gonna know because they just won't tell me. So
Yeah,
we that's our nature,
that's
though. It's
it is.
unfortunate. The quiet professional thing is always at the forefront of our mind.
I always say it's a cult that you can always leave and come back to anytime you want, and it's always gonna be there for you,
I think that's
you
the
know?
truth.
It's the only cult you can, like, sorta take breaks from.
Yeah, I I mean, I left. I isolated myself back in Wisconsin here, and I was messaging the first group sergeant major yesterday, and
Mhm.
it's like, when's your change of command? And he's like, well, don't change your responsibility. He's like, don't come to that, come to the retirement. He's like, the change of responsibilities for the other guy. Retirements, that's for me. I was like,
Which
all right, I'll
what guy?
Billy DeLucia,
Mhm.
and I think it's September is his retirement. And I was like, I'll be there. I was like, and I said, you did a lot for me by coming on the podcast. And he's like, how so? And I said, I isolated when I left group. I left during a deployment. I kind of just disappeared, and to the point where nobody knew where I went. And some people didn't even know that I got out for years. I just
Yeah.
disappeared.
Same here.
And, and I told him, I said, when you came on the show, and I'm so naive. I said, everybody in first group listened to that podcast because the first group sergeant major was on there. And a
That's
lot of my friends that had no idea where I went, hey, there's Nick. And I got instantly plugged back into the group that I missed so badly. And it was
yeah,
instant. Like that day, people
that's awesome,
found
man.
where I was. And I was like, you did so much for me and my brand, helping me plug back in that, man, I owe you one. And he's like, well, I didn't do anything. I was like, yes, you did.
Well, I think we have to almost disappear for a while sometimes and kinda regroup and build what you're building and, yeah, take a fucking step back, take a knee, and you gotta yeah, it's not odd to sort of disappear for a moment, but it always is nice when you can feel the support when you come back. It's just it never ends.
To be able to support as well. And it's person dependent. Like the common phrase last year was, the brotherhood wasn't there when I needed them. And I go, I completely understand that statement, but also part of that's on us. We look for help from the guys that are still in the team room to be
Yeah,
there for us. And we're
yeah,
not in the team room anymore. They are. They got to keep going on with the machine. And we're
yeah,
stepping away, going back to reality. They're still in fantasy land and we're not
yeah,
in fantasy land anymore. So we
yeah.
look to the wrong place. So some of that's on us. It's person dependent. And I don't know. I don't know. I hope that we can transfer some of the lessons and things, but I just want to have my hand up and say, hey, you can reach out to me and you can reach out to all these people that I follow also. They'll help you too. And we're all accessible and just go down and we
Yeah.
can help people out.
Yeah, that's the dream, man. We wanted that's what we want, and I think that's what we're wired to do anyways, is to help and support and uplift and but it's hard to accept sometimes too. And it took me a while to learn to accept the help and the support and a lot of stuff that I've been overwhelmed with, specifically building my business, has been me just allowing myself to be helped by people that have the resources that really want to do it. And that's it's really clear to me now.
There's some with experience and exposure too, because with this, everything was completely new. And I'm not able to draw the similarities from military life to business. And I'm just real hard headed trying to figure stuff out. You got to be the same way as well
Yeah.
and every business owner says everything's a fucking disaster all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, um,
Dumpster fire.
especially with one for me, it's like, man, I don't know how to do this. Oh, and I don't have time to figure it out. How the fuck do I get over that? All the time, everything. So it just goes to the wayside. And then 6 months later, you go, well, I didn't get anywhere. Maybe I need to pay somebody to do this, and then funds and worrying about money and things like that. So,
Yeah.
I how has it been with your baby going? Is it polished enough to show it to the world? And then I hope people are gonna be well receiving of my little baby that I've been cultivating. How was that for you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's something I think of every day as I build wild ops boxes. Is this good enough for I know it'll be good enough for the people who love and support me and are gonna subscribe because they know me, but is it good enough for everybody else? And I believe it is. I really do. I'm like one step away from making that a reality. And I've always wondered, and I've been wrapped around the axle on like I know what I want it to be, but I don't know exactly like the vehicle to deliver the product. And then I created this field guide, and the field guide is built to be like the glue that holds the whole brand together. And, each box will come with a field guide that is associated with the skill that's being taught. And so, for instance, our first field guide is going to be the fire field guide, and it teaches the skill. It has prompts, it has a curriculum, an educational curriculum that allows kids to interact through, like crossword puzzles and word searches and journal prompts and survival stories. And it's really neat. And I think that if people engage with that field guide and they take it seriously, um, the intrinsic value is going to be tremendous. That's been helpful for me to realize that it needed that like one pillar in order to be good enough to shoot out into the world. And I feel like the ship, it's like I told my wife I built this like massive ship and it's ready to sail, but I know that as soon as I launch, I'm going to be bailing water out of it the entire time. And it's going to create a lot of work for me, but I'm having a blast. It's going really well, and just taking it one day at a time. But
I
that's a
mean, to
that's a
me,
that but that's a good point. It's like that's the thing I worry about most is this cool enough? Is it good enough? Are people gonna open it up and understand it? And they will or they won't, but I've done my damnedest to cultivate and create something that I think is valuable.
yeah, and you got to get people to open their wallet and
Yeah.
pay for it. So you're marketing something for the kids to the people with the credit card for the
Yeah.
subscription. But I mean, just hearing you describe that, and here it was just like a little. Remember at Sear when they said, "Go make fire," and then you went out and you got your little twigs and got your little lighter knot and your pine straw,
Yeah.
and then you made fire, and you know how fun that was, and you heated up your pine straw tea or pine was it pine needle
Pine
tea?
needle
Pine
tea,
needle
yeah.
tea, and you cooked your rabbit and the little fire that you made in the little stove, and you felt like a grown adult out in the woods, filthy with all your buddies, you
Yeah.
know?
It's good
That's
stuff.
so you gotta get that to the adults. It's like you have to get the sensation of my I'm always seem to come upstairs when my wife is at the finale of Survivor, and the second to last thing they do is make fire, right? And
Mhm.
burn the little wire, and it's so I seem to watch it and I go, "I could do that. That's competition. I could build fire under pressure." And I don't know if I could, but that's what you kinda gotta get for the adults, of get them into it, of the
The
same excitement they're
first
gonna have for kids. Yeah.
the first story that I have in this field guide for fire, it's a piece that I wrote called "The Fire We Fought For," and it's specifically a story from SEER school. And it was when the cadre came around and it was dumping rain, and they said, "All right, let's go start a fire." And we couldn't. No one did. The moral of the story is that he said he had a bag full of McDonald's in his rucksack. He was ready to. We think he was ready to hand out to us. We could smell it, and we came together and put all of our lighter knot and tinder and our fire bars together. And by the time he got back, we had like 8 fires built, and we didn't get any McDonald's, but it really it reinforced the motivation to survive, and we just weren't uncomfortable enough, and then we were, and so that's the first survival story that I'm going to release for Wild Ops Box is this fire that we fought for in SEER school.
Oh, God. I was right back there when you said that, right in the, the grove of trees. And, yeah, what a
It was amazing. I reached out to my SEER class to see if anybody had our photo because I wanted to put the photo in
I
the
would love to
magazine.
see that.
Nobody found one, and everybody got pissed off because they're like, "Wait, nobody has that photo, and we're still searching for it." I reached out to, you should have him on your podcast. His name's Chris Papasadero, and he went through the whole course with me, and I'll never forget. We had some food, and we made the Dakota fire hole,
Yeah.
and we got the pot, boiling, and we started to put the food in, and Chris was trying to like micromanage the fire so much so that he spilt the entire thing onto the ground and everything was covered in sand and mud and rocks. And we just threw it back in the pot and kept it going. We ended up eating it anyway and crunching the sand in our mouths. But yeah, SEER school was a trip, man. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget the whole experience. It was there was a guy that found some sassafras root and he had it in his pocket and it smells like root beer. And I'll never forget, he was probably 150 yards ahead of me, and I was so hungry I could smell that sassafras root in his pocket from 150, yards away. And
Oh,
I don't know if you had this experience, but when I was in SEER school, I felt like you're so tired and you're so hungry that all your other senses sort of get heightened. And I had like these memories pop up from like when I was a kid. I mean, the most random shit in the world just kind of like came into my consciousness. But it's like I felt the rain. I could smell the rain. I could just everything felt so real and in the present moment. And I love those memories of being hungry and tired, but like also just feeling alive.
yeah. I can get glimpses and little snippets here and there. I did get rocked this much before liberation. I got hit really, really hard, and, I'm pretty sure I got a concussion,
Like you
and
got
because I was
hit.
having yeah, I may or may not have gotten hit by somebody or something that worked there, and I'm pretty sure I got a concussion because I was having weird I thought it was from the whole experience, but I'd have weird nightmare dreams for a couple weeks after that. Turns out, I'm prone to concussions, and that was probably just I got my bell rung. So there's some gaps in the whole process, but yeah, it was a hell of an experience. And that's gotta be how often are you thinking about these schools that we went through in the military and trying to pull these little lessons out of it and go,
All the
"How do I
time.
market this to kids?" You know?
All the time. I mean, I can't even remember what we're supposed to talk about and what we're not supposed to talk about, but I talk about it all. And so it's like when you were talking, the thing that came up, the memory I had was like getting hit for the first time. And I think I had thought up until the moment that it first happened was, oh, it's just going to be a little slap. And I remember taking that burlap bag off my head and just getting absolutely rocked by this dude. Be like, "Oh, okay, this is what we're doing here. This is interesting.
We're here to play.
This this is real." And it's so funny because it's like no one would ever like the classes above you would always talk about what you could do to prepare for SUT, what you could do to prepare for the Bravo course. But when SEER school got mentioned, everyone got quiet and people would just be like, "Oh, you'll see." And it was always like, "What do you mean you'll see? Like I don't get it. Like why aren't you setting me up?" And then you realize that you just have to have the experience on your own. You can't get set up for it.
Oh, yeah. What are you learning about yourself with now with the wild ops boxing, like the doubt and the confidence? Because it's got to be. I know with this, I can take over the world, and I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world 50 times a day. It's like a
Yeah.
big yo-yo. How's
Yeah,
that
for
for you?
me yeah, for me, I get that too, but, like, I have to figure out how to make myself a piece of shit for less time than I did before, And so it's the mindset that I have to succeed and that I'm having a blast doing this and I just have to keep moving forward. Those times are less long than they used to be. I used to go into weeks, months, maybe years of feeling that way. And now it's just fleeting moments of doubt that is clearly overshadowed by confidence and just joy. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. This is becoming bigger than what I expected it to be. I wanted to fulfill 50 subscriptions in month one, and I'm already at like 150, 160 for month one. And that's without trying, that's without really marketing, and that's without people really understanding what I'm doing. My social media is pretty, I would say, obscure in the sense that like it doesn't really portray what the box provides yet. Like we haven't done any unboxing. People don't know what they're getting, but I have a great response now just from the people who are interested. And I don't know if it's the messaging or the intrinsic value that they expect it to be, but yeah, it's really happening. And what I have found to be more valuable than anything is talking with nonprofits that want to provide experiences for families. And so one of the nonprofits that I'm working with right now, they subscribed to 105 boxes. So it's a bulk order that's really going to help me take off. And so yeah, it's interesting. You think it's going to be something, and then once you get started, it starts to morph into what it needs to be. And it has nothing to do with what you created. It's sort of forms a life of its own. And that's what's happening right now is I'm starting to realize, oh wow, this isn't even me talking anymore in my head. This is everyone else. And I'm just the guide. And that's pretty cool, and it's informing me each day of where I'm headed, and I've been taking this so slowly that it's not stressful. One of the bigger parts that's difficult is trying to understand who to align with. Are my values aligned with this brand or this partnership? And like you said something about it earlier, but you really have to be cognizant and conscious of who you're essentially getting in bed with. And so if I were to get, a sponsorship from this brand, that might be a little bit more left leaning and that might cause people to say, you know what, I don't align with those values that brand, even though it might be a big brand. And then on the other side, this pretty right leaning brand might say, hey, we want you and we want to partner with you. And I might have to say, well, that would be amazing, but I'm trying to be neutral in my political stance. And I'm also being bold too. I'm also making some bold claims and sort of being a bit divisive just within my own messaging. But that's kind of the hardest part is just realizing that everybody wants to jump on the train, but you can't let everybody on it. Like doesn't work that way.
No, I've been mulling that over a lot more lately. And in the beginning, it kind of still is. If I follow you, or even if you follow me and you got your own thing going on, you send me your reel, I'm going to put it up on my stories, right? My
Hmm.
stories don't reflect lesser known operators. My content does. That's my main feed. Now we get to sponsors, right? Lesser known operators has one sponsor, and the official position of lesser known operators is talk to your coach, talk to a professional. And what I say is talk to your doctor, especially when it comes to hormones and peptides. And my only sponsor is my doctor, and that's it. And I want to kind of keep it that way
Yeah.
because that kind of keeps me out of things. And so now I'm working to sponsor lesser known operators completely myself and
Yeah.
not have anything other than Precision Wellness Group. And it's like, I don't want to be beholden to what anybody else thinks, because I'm pretty confident that I can make lesser known operators stand on its own within the
Yeah.
next year or two. And I don't want to get tied up with anybody else's thoughts. Now, do I
Yeah.
support guys as businesses? Yeah, I'll collaborate with you or whatever, but we don't have any unless you're mean, like unless you're outright mean. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do like that. Like I'm
Well,
a
that's just
positive
it.
brand, you know?
Well, that's just it. My wife and I had a very clear conversation about it, and for me, it's, is this the right move, and is it putting good into the world? And if it's not, then it's not our prerogative. It's not in alignment. And that's where I want to stay, because that's ultimately what I'm trying to do, is put good into the world. And it doesn't need to feel a certain way. It just has to align with a set of values that holds the brand up. And and it happens. It just naturally sort of occurs. The right people show up at the right time. I mean, I probably have an opportunity every day to engage with that I have to sit and think about and try to understand if I'm wanting that long term. But yeah, it's fun. It's absolutely amazing. I just went to Las Vegas and met some really cool folks and got some good opportunities there. I'm heading to Salt Lake in 2 weeks to go to an outdoor expo. And yeah, I mean, I wear my stuff and I talk to people about what I do. And the number one, like the overarching theme is we're bringing families together. Like we had a conversation with Outdoor Brands, who owns like Oklahoma Joe's Grills and Pit Boss and Charbroil. And it's like, hey, I can get behind that. Like, you know, they're trying to bring people together to enjoy the outdoors. And so are we. And so it's a really clear partnership that makes sense for us. And it kind of goes hand in hand, like doing things outside and eating outside. And I mean, eating outside and like barbecuing and making food and eating together is like the oldest thing that we do. And it's like one of the traditions that we still uphold is eating meals together. And so that's something that we can get behind.
It's got to be what are people's reaction like? Totally no background on it, and then you introduce yourself. Hi, are you Mr. Blaine yet, or are you Aaron still?
Just Aaron.
Just I'm just kidding. You haven't graduated. I was out at 519 with candidates out there at the SFRE,
I saw that.
and
Yeah.
I'm I'm talking to myself before the thing, and I go, "All right, Nick, we're gonna you can't be Nick during the assessment. Who? God damn it. Okay, you're Mr. Ward during the assessment, and then afterwards you're Nick." And that's what I came up with.
Perfect.
I'm like, I can't have him call me Nick during the thing. I was like, hey guys, while it's training, I'm Mr. Ward. The moment you guys are done, I'm Nick. But right now, it's professional environment. I'm Mr. Ward, and I was like, God damn it, I'm old now. I'm fucking Mr. So and so. How is it when you meet people and you're introduced to them and you kind of lay out the elevator pitch? What's the general response? Is it inquisitive? Are they taken aback, or what is it?
Seems pretty clear. It's very well received. A lot of people are like, "Wow, that's that's really cool. That's a great mission. I want to be involved. I want my kids to do it." Um, yeah, I mean, it's been overwhelmingly supportive since I've been chatting with folks, and I love talking about it. I love getting in on, having a platform to speak about my passion. And it's not just a money maker for me. It's a legacy project. And so it's something that I can fully engage with people and get behind and be enthusiastic about. And I've had very few people be confused about what it is. It's pretty clear.
Did it start out as a legacy project, or was this what you like? It's like, oh, this is I could get into this because you start with every idea with a little
hmm
trepidation. But when did it start moving into this could outlive me and my kids as a product?
yeah. So it was probably like a week ago when, I mean, I experienced the knowing that it was a legacy project long before this, but this was hilarious. So my son, who's 8, who this what I'm doing is mostly all about him because he absolutely loves it. But we were sitting at dinner and he goes, "Hey dad," he goes, "when you die, I'm gonna take over Wild Ops Box." And I was like,
And I
"Really?
dropped dead right there.
Okay. Hopefully that's not anytime soon." But I appreciate that you think it's a cool thing. Yeah, I mean, really did mean a lot to me that he was even thinking about that. For me, when I realized this was a legacy product in a project, was how much influence I get through my dad while I'm building this spiritually. I mean, my father passed away, but when I really get into the weeds with what I'm doing and I need inspiration, the thing I can fall back on almost all the time is what my dad brought to the table and how he passed these skills down to my brother and I. And, you know, for me, doing something for my dad that's worthwhile is all I need to do to be motivated and have the passion that I do about it. And like, I get super sad when I think about, like my kids will never meet my dad. They'll never meet their grandpa. And this is a way for me to honor him and the skills and the mindset that he instilled in us. And it's not just outdoor skills. Like these skills create, I think, like I say in my video, this is like the OG of an education system. Yeah, for like skills and hands-on activities and that stuff. But like when you know how to survive and you know how to be by yourself, it just creates so much more empowerment than most things, and especially in kids, where it transfers over to life in so many ways. I mean, we talk about SEER school. It's the same way. Like, how much more confidence did you have after SEER school, knowing that you can be in the dark and cold in the rain without food and support? And you know, I know the one thing for sure that we're missing, and I think this project is very timely, is the sense that you know our younger generation doesn't really know how to endure or how to engage with the outside world enough so to give them enough confidence to figure out how to change a tire or have the confidence to just figure shit out. Like, I think I listened to the solo climber. I listened to his podcast, Alex, what's his last name? Hanold or whatever. And he was talking about how like in an airport, you see all these people stressed out while they have everything around them to survive. They have food, they have shelter, they have restrooms, they have water, and they're the most stressed out that you'll ever see anyone is in an airport. It's because we don't push ourselves to be uncomfortable. I think some of the best tools that we can have to be in an uncomfortable situation is learning how to survive and sustain life. And the skills are great, but I think the mindset is really what we're going for, is just having the confidence and the autonomy to be okay in stressful and harsh conditions.
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said something, and I didn't even know I was gonna say it. And then when it came, the business, I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing." I have no idea what I'm doing. But you know what I can do? I can build a fucking house from memory. And
Mhm.
and I said that, I went, "I could, couldn't I? I could go into the woods and I could build a house with some tools and have no problem doing that. I can change a tire. I can figure shit out, and construction math. I can figure out a septic tank and the leach field and all these other things. And just from memory, I go, oh, that's pretty comforting, you know. And it's got
Not
to
too
be
many
the
people
same.
can do that. Yeah.
No, and that takes a lot of getting yelled at when you were the new guy, and a lot of learning funny words on the job site, and learning about how to deal with people and showing up and working on projects. But there's no substitute for that. There's no substitute for being able to handle everything outside of all of this comfort, And I was talking to my wife the other day. I was like, "It's things aren't that bad." I said, "Things aren't that bad. It's warm in here. It's 0 degrees outside, and it's warm in our house. We have hot water. We have all these other things. Like,
Yeah.
it could always be so much worse." And
Well, I was talking about that the other day too. So we have these Ukrainians that work for me, and in April they have to leave, and their visas are up. And I asked them, where are you going to go? And they said, we don't know. We can't go back to Ukraine, but they're going to figure it out. And when I hired them, I hired the male, of the family. I said, "Well, what are your skill sets?" And he goes, "Ah, you tell me to build a house, I build house. You tell me to, to fix pipes, I fix pipes." And they just figure it out. And the amount of resilience these people have is absolutely insane. And it's something that we could learn. My buddy's actually from Ukraine. He was on the SEAL teams, and he says his kids are just basically living in the land of plenty, where he had to share a banana with his brother for Christmas one year, and it's like the first time they ever had a banana. So it's like we are just surrounded by plenty. We have plenty around us. Everything's plentiful. And I think that can be to our detriment.
Oh yeah.
And when we
Oh
have
yeah.
nothing around us, and then we have the resources to get creative and survive, that's when things change.
When I was at the hot springs, I went in to get a coffee one morning, and there was this guy in there, and he saw my ears, and he's like, "Do you wrestle?" And I said, "Yeah." I pointed at my ears, and he said, "Yeah." And I was like, were you on USA teams?" He goes, "Yeah, I used to travel and compete all over the world and all that stuff." And I go, "Okay." And we just started talking back and forth, and he asked me a question, and he goes, "You seem like you talk to people. How do you convince these kids these days to be patient?" And I said, "Were you able to be convinced to be patient when you were a kid?" And he goes, "No, not really." And I go, "Well, these kids have everything, access to all this information at the touch of a finger, and everything's instantaneous. And how do you get away from that?" And then for better or for worse, the current generation hasn't had to suffer. And I said, when you were in fucking Dagestan wrestling these guys that were actually made out of steel, what was their life like? And he goes, "Oh, suffering, just suffering to no end, just to wrestle to get a meal." I said, "You can't compete with that. It's just a completely different mindset. And we're not there right now."
Was
I
it
mean,
Cal?
he was stocky, wrestler, brunette.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's Cal. Yeah. He's on the USA team or was. Yeah.
seemed like a nice guy. I talked to him for quite a while, and
That's funny. Yeah. I know him
had a
pretty
nice
well.
conversation. He's a nice guy, but I said, we couldn't be convinced to be patient when we were kids. Can you? Can you convince kids now to be patient? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough.
Yeah. Well, I think we just don't know how to put kids into an environment where they're forced to reckon with the elements, and that's a problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I grew up poor on a farm in a ratty farmhouse, right? But I thought that was normal. If you're born into a situation and you're a kid, you just think everybody's that way. Everybody lives in a crappy situation. You're just like, this
Yeah.
is normal. The same with those people from Ukraine. It's just, well, what do you need me to do? Because their whole life is just, I'm going to figure it out because I've had to always figure it out. If you've never had to figure things out in your whole life, you're not going to be able to figure anything out because it's
I was
not
talking
normal to
yeah.
you.
I was talking to, another first group guy the other day, and we were talking about Bangladesh and how quick you get comfortable with being in such an austere environment, and how things like a burning car on the road, you pass it by and you almost, like, don't even recognize it within, like, a week or 2 of being there, because you quickly, like, I think your nervous system sorta, like, regulates to your environment, and that just becomes normal. It becomes normal to see starving people on the streets. It becomes normal to, you know, have to filter your water, and it's really fast, and, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, they see something like that. If that happens out here on this highway in front of my work, it's like, okay, what is someone going to do about this? And it has to be eliminated right now. Whereas if you get used to being in these really austere environments, the things that seem like such a big deal aren't anymore. And you just
Yeah.
are okay with it.
A slow descent into madness or excellence push, right? When I talk to about a few people about selection, it's been getting harder and harder every year for the past 6 years, ever since that letter came out, right? And it was this
Mhm.
excellence push, and they've got it documented. and it just kept getting harder and harder and harder to get selected after that. And so there's this, you don't notice it, and you're like, how the fuck did we get here? It's the same way on an inverse. The road to perdition, the road to hell is paved with good intentions as well. The failure to act on those good intentions is how we got there.
Or if you're forced into a situation where you
Yeah.
have to figure it out. And that's what we don't have much of. We're just basically we're too comfortable.
So we're gonna kidnap these kids and drop them off in the woods. Is that the first box?
Right?
It's the big surprise.
When I was training for selection, the cadre, we went to like a pre-selection course, and they used to drop us off like a couple miles outside of base, and you had to make it onto base without your ID. And so you've got all these like trigger happy security forces guys out on the airfield, and you're going under the fence or through a culvert, and yeah, everybody made it back without anyone knowing that we were supposed to be weren't supposed to be there. Yeah, so maybe that's box one.
Super illegal, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
What
went.
does that mean though?
Yeah, yeah. Back in the day when there were no rules, you know who I've got coming on the show in 2 weeks is Rolf Jensen, one of the original SOPSI cadre, one of the plank
Nice.
holding members, and I forget who else, Brian. I forget his name, but we're having two of the original SOPSI cadre are coming onto the show to talk
Awesome.
about the 18 X-ray program. I'm very excited.
Should be. Sounds cool.
Yeah, they heard I was looking for them, so they're coming on the show, which is also crazy. People are hearing that I'm looking for people, and then they pop up, which is
Small
wild.
community.
But small community, big world. All right, so we're gonna expose the children, I assume, and the adults to kind of overcome challenges through your boxes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's done through guidance in the field guide. And what's really interesting about the field guide is it's sort of a spectrum between like education and science-based learning, some unconventional ways of doing things, but then also some prompts that support parents. And like the field guide is the guide, and they're a lot deeper than probably what you get on your surface level conversation with your dad or your mom, and that's supposed to create connection. And I think that there's no better place to create connection with someone that you care about in the backcountry or in the elements of nature. And that's what we're going for. And I think that like what I hope Wild Ops Box turns into is a whole bunch of core memories that establish a foundation for kids and adults. And there's a lot of adults that don't know how to do this. I would imagine that most adults that subscribe to my box will learn just as much as the children will. They're lost skills. They're things that we think we don't need anymore. And it's sort of like I think all of these skills are really embedded into our DNA. And what I hope happens is it wakes something up. When you're fishing and you feel that fish tug on the line, there's something that goes on in your brain that you can't explain. And it's the same when you sit and listen or watch a crackling fire or put your hands in cold water. And it's something that I have a really deep relationship with, and I hope to be able to pass that on to the world and anybody that engages with my boxes and becomes part of the community. It's not just going to be boxes. We're going to have community platforms. We're going to have in-person events that strengthen the skills and strengthen the connection of these children and their parents, and hopefully create a community of a bunch of like-minded people that understand the gravity of what these boxes can really do to support their journey. There's prompts for goal setting and values and things that I've learned along the way. I've done a lot of things in the growth mindset, spiritual realm that I hope to deliver in a really grounded way through each box.
I just drove this whole country, right? The whole thing. I just drove the whole thing, which is we forget how populated and sparse it can be at times. You know, I went
Yeah.
through a lot of the big cities and then through just vast nothingness. And you're out in Montana. Montana's fucking awesome. And from west to east, it's very different, like different from west to east.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just get outside the city and you're in the middle of fucking nowhere and there's no signal and you're out there and you're right. Some of these things, making a fire, building a shelter, just basic survival skills are fun. It's it's lost in the city, you know, and you got to try and capture that where you're at cuz you're in Montana, this place that most Americans have never been to. You're
Yeah.
trying to capture these experiences and send them to the people in the city and go, stop moving here, but come out and visit into the country, into the wild and see these things. Cause I have driven the country several times and still even this time I went, this place is fucking amazing. This is there's
Yeah.
it get out, drive around, go outside. And it's just unparalleled, really, when you get out there. Like when I drove through Colorado as the sun set, I never seen anything so beautiful,
Yeah.
you know? And I went, I wish everybody I knew could be here right now and see
Yeah.
this and just sit on the side of the road, you know, and go, it's just me and my dog, you know, and you gotta it'd be fun for you to think of all these places you've been and these tough situations and go, you know, how do I put this into a box to show people this little lesson that took me years and years to learn? And how do I show it to fathers and sons or mothers and daughters or things like that? It's got to be fun for you to reflect on all the shit you did and try and pull the lessons out for the kids.
Yeah. And in hopes that people engage with those lessons and go out on their own to be exposed to uncomfortable situations that lead to what you just said, which is like a sunset in the mountains or, you know, the stars that light up at night and there's not a lot of light pollution or just the elements alone is something that we have lost connection with that I hope to bring to people. And yeah, there's so many layers to it that it's really hard to describe, but it's I think it's innate. I think it's something that we want. It's something that we need. Just as we needed structure and we needed routine in the military, I think people need they yearn for the outdoors. They yearn to feel the cold wind on their face or the water on their feet. And I think it gives us something to live for. Like we're earthlings because we're here on Earth. Yet we separate ourselves from the earth by being in these really comfortable cities and these concrete buildings. And, you know, we're looking out from the inside instead of being out in it and engaging with it. And that's what I really hope that people can start to engage with and go for it. I mean, there's so much of what you just talked about that's available to us and it's not too far away. You know, like you said, if you're driving through Iowa or Wisconsin or North Dakota, even Vermont or New Hampshire, you can find yourself in the middle of nowhere almost everywhere. And those places are accessible. And the other thing that I would really hope to achieve with Wild Ops Box is to be a steward for conservation and to continue to support these wild places that we sort of just forget about. You know, I remember when I lived in Ohio, there's like no public land there. And so it's really hard to find a place for hunting and fishing and exploring. There's several parks and there's places that you can go. But in Montana, I think 70% of our state is public, meaning the public can engage in the mountains collectively. You know, you have anywhere from bird watchers to bear hunters to fly fishermen or backpackers that all share the same backyard. And I was really advocating for public land protection, you know, specifically with this administration. And, you know, I'd have people reach out to me and say, like, why is public land such a big deal to you? And it's because that's what I subscribed to when I moved to Montana is the ability to go into places that are essentially that we pay our taxes for and that we can go into and have these experiences and share with whoever's there. And it's really probably lost on some people because they don't have it. They don't have access to it, or they think they don't have access to it when it's really all around us. Our national parks, our state parks, the places that are preserved. And that's a really big deal to me. And that's a really big deal to people that are in the outdoor industry, is preserving the wild places that we still have left here.
So there's no substitute for some of these things. I took the north route when I went out to drove to Denver the last time. I went north, and then at one point I went, I don't wanna be on the highway anymore, so I cut straight south from into Kansas or into yeah, there's whatever, it doesn't matter, Nebraska down to Kansas, that was it, and I came into Colorado from the east, and, I looked at the dog, I said, Let's go see some stars," and I just drove straight south on the back roads, Baja, and we got out to where I was like, I couldn't see any lights. I couldn't see any lights in any direction, and I just turned off the truck, and I got out, and we just looked up, and I went, "Man, this is beautiful," I'm just it's 3 in the morning in the nowhere, Kansas, and it's just stars as far as you can see in every direction. It's just beautiful,
Yeah.
and that's not that far away from where we live, but we don't see it, and I find that, as you're describing the things with a lot of my content or a lot of the things I do, it's something that I need myself. Like a lot of the
Mhm.
motivation I see in my posts or even the posts I make that are just flat out for it's something that's like, I need this right now and I'm going to make the content because I'm not seeing what I like. I'm going to make what I want for me. And if other people get something out of it, that's even the more better, right? Have you noticed that for these projects and these boxes that you've been making, you're making them for you and for your kids,
Yeah.
and like if they don't like it, like this is really helping me and it's helping my kids be more connected. I mean, it'll probably associate to other people and other parents as well. But have you seen that in your creation that you're doing stuff for you and not for anybody
Oh,
else?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is for me and this is for my kids. It is a legacy project that, I hope to instill the ideas that you and I are talking about right now, where, I think we need, like, concerts and we need events in order to have fun when, I wanna show people that you can just literally go into the woods and have a lot of fun without anything going on. Like, we go to the river all the time and we just set up a camp, we start a fire and we start making food, and we'll spend an entire day being fulfilled in the backcountry of Montana just because of where we are. And there's endless exploration. And that is what is tied to my needs, is that there's just this endless display of nature to explore here, not only in Montana, but everywhere. If I can pass that along to people, that's amazing. And the other part of my mission that is for me is the fact that I've got a really great group of guys that are totally bought in to what Wild Ops Box is. And the other day I was out at this ranch down the road. I belong to a cigar club, and we were sitting around the fire talking about what does success look like for Wild Ops Box. And I said, we're sort of doing it right now as we have some really good men sitting around a fire talking about how to make ourselves better. And I said, what success looks like is doing that, but having kids laughing in the background. If I can be an old man, a grandpa, and know that what I built created the opportunity for people to be together in communion outdoors, and I see little kids running around happy and safe and adventurous, like that's a win for me. It doesn't have to look like money, it doesn't have to look like anything else. It's very simple. And that is that this land and nature and what we have provided for us is our birthright to have, and to honor that and to accept that as a part of ourselves. Like, that's what I'm going for. And it's sad for me to think that you could go through all of life and not engage with that opportunity, specifically with your kids. we make camping trips a priority in our family. And that's all my kids talk about are, "Oh, remember when we went to this lake? Remember when we went and did this? Remember when we went and did that?" And it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't something that we spent a lot of time, preparing for. We just get in the truck and go find a camp spot, and the next thing you know, the kids are finding cool rocks and, exploring the land, and, you know, everybody's hungry when it's time to eat, and we're outside and in the elements, and we go to sleep and you can see the stars, and then, the stories that get told. We've been telling stories since the beginning of time. That's how we've passed down information. And my hope is that Wild Ops Box provides a platform for people to understand the significance of those stories. And listening to an elder talk about like a fishing trip that he went on, or how nature changed his life, and having these bright-eyed kids sit around and going, wow, that's still a possibility for us. It's still here. We have it. And we have to have people buy into the idea that these wild places are important for more reasons than just because of the animals or the ecosystem. It's like, no, we're a part of it. We get to engage with it. It is us. All of the same elements that make up our body are made up of the earth. And I think when we touch it and we sense it and we engage with it, it wakes us up. It wakes us up and gives us the clarity that we need. There's endless stories about people that find themselves in the woods. They find themselves in the wilderness. And it's because we just are it. Like, we're here with it. And there's no other noise to distract from that. And that's a big deal to me. I mean, it's just that it is the biggest deal to me, is that we have that and we have access to that. It's what saved me. It's what supported me to create a life that makes sense for myself. It's what supported me to get through the hard, difficult times of transitioning out of the military. I knew I needed the mountains. I think I was like a couple weeks out from my ETS, and I just said, you know what? I said, I'm moving to Montana, and I had no plan. And I drove out here because it provided something for me. It's medicine. And I know it can be medicine for a lot more people. It has been for a very long time. And I think it will continue to be, as long as we nurture it, and as long as we care for it, and as long as we provide the resources that we need to keep it intact. It's there for us. And I mean, that may sound super romantic, but it's the truth. And it's really interesting. Like, I've taken a lot of people that have no relationship with nature on backcountry trips like the one you and I went on. And by the end of it, their life has changed. Their life has changed in some tangible way that is just unexplainable. They'll never forget the time where they were, you know, 15, 20 miles deep into Yellowstone National Park, listening to wolves howl and like seeing a moose walk by, or catching trout on a backcountry stream where there's no people. And I think there's layers of consciousness that we can achieve through being in those wild places and doing those things that are never imaginable sitting around a little black box. As we scroll through Instagram, as we scroll through Facebook, what are we looking for? Like, what are we looking for? And I will tell you that the phone becomes insignificant when you get into the backcountry of Montana or in a wild place, because you have everything you need. I think what you're looking for when you're scrolling is experience, is like engagement and life and the elements. I'd rather sit and watch a fire than sit on my phone. And that's really clear to me. I mean, that's really clear to me, but I'm not sure that's clear to everybody. And that's what I hope emerges from the skills that are provided in these boxes is, oh, how simple is it to start a fire and just sit down? Like, if you go into a field right now and start a fire, people will walk over to you and sit down. And then they'll probably start talking. And then before long, it becomes this really safe, secure space where you can engage with other human beings while this element is providing this endless amount of heat and resource for you. Um, Jumping into a cold lake and then, sitting by a fire. There's nothing that can wake you up. There's no cup of coffee. There's no pill that can give you that fulfillment.
Nope. No, there isn't. Nope. That's fuck that. I hated doing it before. I always hate it every time that I have to do it or get in the water. Fuck that. I struggle with that with the phone, you know. I'm like, what am I
Mhm.
providing? And I think about that a lot. Like, what am I providing? And I've kindly finally got it. Becoming a Green Beret, beginning an 18 Charlie is the greatest thing to ever happen to me to get to that point. And I want other people that even have a thought that that will be something for them. I want to help them get there, or at least they can see a path, or make content that's helping, or be a resource for the guys. And the way I do that is through the phone. It's a lot of conversations face to face, but I have to be available and I want to be a resource. But you're right. Your phone becomes, this extension, and whether for good or for bad. And I say, social media is not going to get any smaller, unfortunately. And it's something that I'm getting good at, but I just want to help. And I know you do too. You want to help, but yours is a lot more helpful and healthy. But as I've pointed out many times on this show, being special forces isn't the most healthy thing for you in the world. So,
Well,
it's
so, I mean, you're talking about right now, like, I think everyone has an archetype, everyone has a skill set. And I think yours is exposure. Yours is taking the things that you believe in and the people that you believe in and putting their message out into the world, which allows me to operate. I'm not condemning social media. I'm not condemning the iPhone or tablets or technology. I essentially need it to reach people to understand what I'm doing too. But I think that there is a serious problem that we all know about and that we're like scared to approach, which is that we spend way too much time on it. And so my hope is that people see me on social media or see my product or see my intrinsic value, and they're able to at least
with
put
the
down
phone.
the phone for a moment and go engage with that.
Exactly.
And, like, there was a dad that came to me at the hot springs the other day, and he's like, dude, he's like, I really want to get involved with Wild Ops Box. He goes, but here's the thing. He's like, my kids they're not interested in going outdoors. They're not interested in nature. He goes, we have a lake house up at Sealy Lake. And he goes, when I take them there, they just sit on their tablets all day. And he goes, I can't reach them. I can't connect with them. And I said, what are they doing on the tablets? And he was like, well, my one son loves playing like Fortnite, and that's his like favorite thing to do. And I said, I'm not condemning Fortnite. I said, listen, what I'm trying to create is connection. I said, I'm going to push you to engage with your son and go play Fortnite with him because
Yeah.
that's what he's interested in. And I said, once he sees that you care enough to engage with him in Fortnite, I said, that could potentially open up a portal that gives him the opportunity to say, loves me. Dad wants to connect with me. He wants to be interested in something I'm interested in, which will then hopefully create an opportunity for them to say, I'm going to give that back to my dad and say, what do you got for me? But if you never engage with that, and I think that there's a danger in forcing your kids to engage with things that they aren't interested in. I listen to a lot of Meat Eater. That's the podcast. And it's a hunting, fishing, outdoor podcast. They're based in Bozeman. And Steve Ranella said, don't take your kids fishing if you know you're not going to catch any fish. Take them to a place where you know you're going to catch fish the first time you take them there, because their first experience with anything will determine whether they want to engage with it again. And so my wife kept saying, oh, take Easton fishing. He's super interested in fishing. I'm like, no, I don't want to just take him fishing. I want to make
Catching.
sure that he's going to be successful. And so there's this trout pond. It's a couple miles away. And one spring we got on a paddleboard and we caught brook trout the entire day. And he told everybody about that fishing trip. I mean, he told the fishing stories about how big the fish were. They weren't only about this big, but they were this big. And that gave him a tangible like end state to what we were up to. And so I think anything that you do with your kids is more about you being present. I think anything about doing anything with anyone, the important part of it is the connection piece. It is I'm willing to be with you in this moment, whatever you're doing, and we're going to have a connection. And if that means Fortnite on an iPad, that's okay for a moment. That's not bad. But if you just let your kid go off on that tablet and play Fortnite and demonize him and yell at him and try to make it this big deal, he's gonna do that more. And so you have to find a segue. You have to find a vehicle that gets your kids excited about doing outdoor activities or anything that you want them to do. And I think that's really important because I think one bad experience in a situation can really keep them from ever wanting to do it again. And then not trusting you and then just thinking, oh, you know what, camping's really hard or fishing's really hard or hunting's really hard. And yes, it is, but it's also really rewarding. It's also fun.
Everything's exciting when you're a little kid and you get out on a
Everything
boat and you don't catch anything and you go, "Oh, this is kinda boring."
is boring.
I was having fun playing in the mud back there, but, "You got any snacks or anything?" But then we become adults and you go, "Man, it's pretty boring out here. This is awesome."
Yes.
It's
Hey,
crazy how everything flips, you know?
and that's another part of what this is doing for me. If I can have an excuse to go do something boring, I'm going to do it because my life is filled with distractions and dings and phone calls and emails and screen time and finances. And, it all is an avalanche of just, it's overwhelming. And so if I can get an opportunity to go sit around a fire and watch my kids play in the water, I'm pretty excited about that. That
Yeah.
helps me.
Yeah. Priorities change, you know? Live a little bit longer and you'll understand. And every little bit that you get a little bit older, you understand what your parents or your grandparents were talking about, you know?
Yeah, and I think we do sort of set our kids up for failure in the sense that we don't want them to get their shoes dirty. We don't want them to be dirty. We don't want them to be in danger. And we create this bubble around them that extends past their childhood to a point where they don't want to even try anything. And I think you have to expose your kids to danger soon. You have to do it quick. You have to do it when they're young in order for them to create a platform for themselves that gives them some confidence to do things, just like power tools. Like my kids, they don't have fake tools. They don't have Fisher Price plastic screwdrivers. They have real ones. Like my son has his own toolbox. 90% of the time, I'm there with him, especially when he's using a power tool. But I would say that my 8-year-old is probably more competent with a drill than most grown men, which is a problem.
Well, I mean, you giving him black coffee and kicking him out the front door every morning, man. I know you gotta get those kids off to the job site. No. I just wish my parents wouldn't have first taken me. Do you know what jug fishing is? Jugging?
Like when you put a jug in the water with a line and you hope that something grabs onto
and
it.
you toss a bunch of them out in the cove and then you come
Yeah.
back in the morning.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Well, well, when I was a wee lad, and I wish my parents would have gone in a fucking different order than this, was we go jug fishing and catch fucking alligator gar that are
Yeah.
this big. And then they're like, we're going to go skiing. And I go, what? I don't want to get, I don't want to get in there.
Because you knew what was in the water.
Still to this day, I mean, I was afraid of the water when I got to the dive team, and now I'm horrified of the water. Like, just so bad after my injuries and things, and it's still to, of going swimming in a reservoir lake where there's 6-foot alligator gar when you're a 3-foot tall kid, and I just go, "I don't think I'm ever gonna get over this."
It's weird when you're a kid because I remember it doesn't seem it doesn't seem reasonable at all, but my grandparents had a swimming pool, and I was scared of the deep end, even probably up to, like, 8 or 9 years old because there was, like, there was a chance, there was a small chance that there was something under me that could get me, and so I have the same thing. It's probably along the same lines as that we think there's, like, ghosts or monsters in our house, and,
In the
like,
dark.
it
Yeah,
doesn't seem it's inconceivable as an adult, but, like, my kids run downstairs all the time, and they're like, "Hey, there's something in my room. There's a monster in my closet, or there's a ghost in the house," and
yeah.
my fix to that is to run up and scare the shit out of whatever is there. My son told me there was a monster in his closet one time, and I came in with my pistol and kicked open the door, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here, monster! You don't belong here." Made a big deal out of it, and my kid was like, "Yeah, thanks, Dad. Now I can go to sleep." It's so weird what you do form in your mind as a child, and I think we have to expose our kids to things because, like, dude, I went and did a retreat, a men's retreat up in, the Berkshires of Massachusetts, and there was a guy there that was afraid to walk 10 feet into the woods because he was afraid that a bear was just gonna jump out and eat him, and it's like, dude, wow, he's lived in Manhattan, New York City for his entire life, and just to know that that human being has never walked 2 steps into the woods because he's terrified, that's really sad to me. That's that's terrible.
That's exposure, man. Kids know what is it? Fantasies or knight in shining armor, like medieval tales. They don't tell the children that monsters are real. Kids already know that monsters are real. These
Mhm.
tales teach them that there's a way to kill them. Well, I didn't know monsters were real in the water, but then we pulled the monster out of the water and I went, fuck you and fuck that. I don't want to be in there ever again. And so there is a fine line of you have a bad
Sure.
experience and you go, I just I just don't think I can ever get. I can turn it off. Like for training, I turned it off, and look how well that worked out for me. I almost fucking died that day, you know. But because I was like, there's no sharks out here. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. And then I almost get killed by the waves in the boat and shit. But yeah, you can definitely traumatize people. And living in a city your whole life, there's things there that he's probably, as you said, normal, like a mugging on the street or homeless or this weird shit going on that's super dangerous that he's tempered to. That guy would probably just wouldn't even look twice at something happening. But you take somebody and you drop them off in a completely separate location, some situation they've never been in. Yeah, they're going to be frightened of it. I mean, how
Well, and
many people have seen a bear up
that's what we're
close?
trying
Like
to
a
get
bear up
ahead of.
close is scary.
That's what we're
Oh,
trying to get ahead of with Wild Ops Box is, like, it's not necessarily the skill that's gonna save you, it's the mindset. It's the ability to understand that you could be dropped off in any environment, and you would just be able to use the strength of your mind to navigate whatever circumstances, whatever situation that you're in. And I think that's like the hidden value of all of these skills combined is that, yeah, you know what? Like being able to start a fire is great. Building a shelter is great, but having the mindset to know that your resources are around you and that when you get into an uncomfortable situation, the first thing you do is take a step back and you slow down and you breathe because panic creates chaos, which creates more chaos. And that's the big lesson that I hope is exposed or is, provided within our educational platform or curriculum is that it's in you. It's in your mind. And if you can figure out how to contain yourself, how you can compose yourself, if you drop me off in the middle of a city, I'm going to feel more scared than I do being in the backcountry of Montana or Alaska because I don't enjoy it. It's not something that I'm used to. I'll figure it out and I have the mindset to understand, all right, how do I get to safety? How do I use my resources properly? Who do I talk to? All that stuff. But it's usually the other way around, where you drop somebody off in the middle of the woods and they're terrified and they don't know what to do. They don't know what direction to go. They don't understand that, here's a river. If I follow that, it'll eventually get me to civilization. One of the biggest problems with people that get lost is that they move around too much and they actually end up circling and staying in the same spot. They don't get anywhere. And so just to teach people like what terrain is and how to navigate it, like that's something that I think I can provide, which I will provide in my field guides, that kids can go, oh, I remember that. That makes sense. And to be able to slow down enough to go, what are my resources here and how can I navigate this situation? And that's the hope. That's the hope, is that we can cultivate that within these skills that really reach out to the rest of their lives. Maybe being around too many people scares you, or maybe engaging socially with someone scares you. But learning how to overcome those things is a big part of just growing up that I think is lost on people. Like, we have all these college kids, 20 to 30-year-old kids here that work at the hot springs, and their ability to communicate is so poor compared to you and I. They are scared to socialize. Most of them are on their phones most of the time. They can't engage with customers and patrons because they don't have the confidence to do so. And so my hope is that within our product, like my son Easton is a prime example. I've exposed him to all of these things since he was able to walk. And now he walks up to our neighbors and says, hey, it looks like your grass is kind of long. Do you think I could mow it for $30? And 9 times out of 10, they say yes. And then I look across the street and my son's just randomly mowing this guy's yard. And I can sit back and go, wow, I'm really grateful and I'm really proud that he has the confidence to do that. And that's what I don't know how to box that up. I don't know how to make that into a pill. But what I do know how to do is to create and curate these skills for kids to do that might be out of their comfort zone, that gives them that shred of confidence or that shred of ability to go for things, to feel like, you know what? I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. I don't know how to do this, but I know I've done something similar. And so in that sense, I'm going to go for this instead of just like folding in. You know, it's like my brother says it all the time. He's a therapist. People have different material of bootstraps. It's like some people have hard leather bootstraps that they can strap up and get going. And then other people's are made of like paper mache. And that's the resilience aspect of my product that I want to portray within these skills, is like, it gives them the bootstraps to make shit happen, to engage with reality, engage with difficulty, engage with hardship, that I think that just feels like it's really a lost skill. It really does.
The ability to go up and ask strangers if you can shovel their driveway or mow their lawn, that's from being treated like an adult as a young kid.
Being
That's
treated
really
like an adult. Exactly. And so, I have all these forms of training that I engage with in with my children. And one of them is like, if you want an ice cream, you have to walk up to the counter and order it yourself. That's like step one. And they may say no. And I say, well, you don't get any ice cream if you can't go do it. And I'm really proud of my kids. And I'm really proud of the way that I have cultivated a foundation for them to be that confident. But I don't see that in most of their peers. When try to engage with most of their peers, they don't look me in the eye. They don't shake my hand. If you were to walk into my neighborhood or walk into my house, my son's going to come up and look you in the eye and shake your hand and say, hey, I'm Easton. I'm Conan. I'm Scotland. How are you? What are you here for? What are you doing? What are you all about? And I don't see that in many other kids. And I think I was blessed in my lineage. My grandfather, my father, all the men around me were very confident. They were able to engage with people and environments and just naturally fold into things. And I've passed that along to my kids. But I just see scared children mostly. Like I see like even if my sons have like their friends over to the house, they don't even know that my wife and I exist. They just go play, they do their thing. When my kids go to other people's houses, they sit and talk to the parents mostly. They're wondering what they're up to, what they're all about. And I just don't see that happening very often.
That's, as you said, that's not something you can put in a box or a pill or anything. I started working when I was a little kid, mowing the lawn or
Hmm.
doing chores. I remember I was a kid and I lived on the farm and the owner's brother worked for an elec electrical company electrician. He was an electrician. And back then, all the copper went in the garbage can, right, on the job sites. Well, he would collect all of it because he's thinking ahead, He collected it all for
Hmm.
30 years. He collected all this stuff. He had 1,000,000 pounds of copper wire when he retired, and he would bring it home, and I would go over there, and I would just help him skin this copper wire. And I was like, "Hey, this is fun." Or I'd go out there, and I'd be like, "Oh, you guys baling hay? Can I help?" And I'd help stack the hay or bale the hay. If the opportunity to be treated like an adult isn't there, it's it's food
Well,
air.
exactly. And that's what children want. That's what humans want is to be treated like an equal, to be given responsibility and structure. And if we just continue to have children be seen but not heard, and we just kind of don't expect much from them, then dude, time goes by really quick. Like from 0 to 8 years old, if I would have just ignored the principles that you and I are talking about, my 8-year-old would not be who he is, but it's cultivated over time. And at this point, I'm confident in saying that Easton, my oldest, could be dropped off in most environments and probably be okay. I would trust him more than a lot of 20-year-old kids that I engage with just to naturally do the right thing because he has been treated like an adult. That doesn't mean push your kids into fear and like make them uncomfortable all the time. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the inches and the centimeters that eventually turn into feet and yards and miles that get kids to the point where it's just muscle memory. And it doesn't have to be in one box. It's just that's an opening. That's an opportunity to get treated like an adult. And I've had a lot of people say, "Man, like you have a firebox that teaches kids to start fires. Isn't that a bit dangerous?" And I say, "Yeah, it is, and that's the point."
There was a loaded fucking shotgun in the closet at my house when I was a little kid, and you know what my dad said? "Don't fucking touch the gun," and he showed me how to use it, and he left it in the closet, you know?
Yeah.
And that's and you know what I didn't do? I didn't touch the fucking gun, did I?
No, and you understood the importance of it, and that's the other thing. There's a place over here that's run by a bunch of SF guys, and they invited me and my son over for a birthday party at their establishment, and they were shooting trap out there. And I think my son Easton was 6 or 7, and we get there, and the guys are shooting trap with their kids, and there's somebody barbecuing, and you know, um, there's a couple moms there, and the next thing I know, I look over, and my buddy, his son's probably 14, and he's literally teaching my son how to clear a shotgun and where the safety is and how to point it. And one of the wives looks over and she's like, "Oh my god, like what is happening?" And I said, "I'm watching them and I think they're fine." And then I realized that my son is fully engaged with this, older kid that clearly has been taught the right thing to do by his dad. And I said, "Listen, let's let it play out and see what happens." And the next thing you know, my son is shooting trap with a 20 gauge shotgun who's 6 or 7 years old, and it's fine. But I would say the majority of people aren't gonna let that happen or are going to be too scared of what could happen. And I'm just not willing to live my life in a bubble or in a styrofoam box that keeps everybody safe and protected, and they have to understand how to do things properly in order to engage with them. Because when they get older and they go into the world, it will just become this really scary thing that they can't engage with because it's scary and they have no relationship with it whatsoever. And that's what is really scary about the generation that I see growing up right now is that they're just flapping in the wind, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But you can only affect what you can affect. And now you create this thing that can hopefully go into other people's homes and affect a little bit, right? You
Inch
know,
at a time.
it's not one workout that does it for you. It's 1,000
Exactly.
workouts that does it. It's you don't get bigger by one meal. You get bigger by never missing a meal.
Well, and you don't fall in love with the outdoors by just going fishing or just starting a fire.
Or you
But
might,
what it
you might,
you
you
might,
might.
but what it does is it sparks the curiosity, it sparks the adventure within you to say, "Wow, this is really cool." And that's what I hope happens. I mean, I'm certain that there will be a large portion of people who engage with my box that it just doesn't happen with, and that's okay. But if I can get 50% of kids to go, wow, this is really interesting. This is this one little spark that popped up and it made me excited about being outside or, engaging with the elements. And I'm going to continue to do that just as like, I don't think you probably knew you were going to be able to squat 225, 65 times when you started working out, but you fell in love with it somehow and you got better at it. And then you were like driving around the country doing squats every day, you know?
Uh,
Sorry I missed that, by the way. I
it
was
was
literally delivering a baby as you were
You're
squatting.
you're you're you actually, you just beat me to my next point. How's the baby? Just not to go off on too much of a tangent. How's the
Great.
little one?
She's great. She's the most well-behaved person in the home. She's quiet. She eats really well. She sleeps 8 hours a night. And meanwhile, I have 2 feral boys that cause absolute chaos. So, she's definitely sort of, I say that she is leveling out the energy in the home. It's a little bit too masculine. There's a lot of farting, there's a lot of fighting. Things get broken on a daily basis, but she's bringing in the softness, the feminine, girly stuff that our home kind of needs in this moment. But she's
Good,
doing
good.
great. But yeah, she
I
came into
was
this world as you were driving through town.
That's
Sorry I
alright,
missed you.
man. No, you didn't. I was bummed not to see you, but man, was I cooked. I was well done on my
I could
way to
tell.
charcoal, and, luckily, I had structured the days in a way where I kinda had a rest day on the 30th. And then we went over to Three Forks. Thank you for introducing me to Sean, by the way,
Well, yeah,
42 Fitness. I just show up. I was like, hey, I'm going to have an event at your gym and I'm going to live stream.
I'm sure they loved it.
Oh, they were awesome about it. He's nice. A couple people came down from other areas to say hi, and it went well. The whole thing was unbelievable, and it's now my thing. It's my thing to jump in your truck and go drive to as many states as you can. I have big plans for America's 50th birthday for Squattober, but we got to get some sponsors. We got to get some weights. We got to get a plan together. I want to get a big sponsor and then hopefully get some smaller ones together and hopefully a nonprofit on board and do all 50 this year. 250 pounds in all 50 states for America's 50th birthday for
Wow.
Squattober.
Look at you, buddy.
So we'll see. We'll see. That's a pretty cool thing.
Very cool.
From just going and saying, I'm going to go do this. And it was an amazing trip. I got to see so many people. I got to see the coolest shit, man, like by myself with my dog. And unbelievable.
I'm
Like,
so glad that you took the chance and the opportunity to go do something like that. I mean, that's amazing.
it it's really hard to put into words, the whole thing with just going and hanging out with people from my show and talking and staying in houses with them and just having conversations and just meeting people, driving all over the country, going to all the groups, all the bases. And it didn't start out as that. It was I was just gonna go to Fort Bragg, and then I said, "Well, we gotta go to a mall now," you know? Uh,
Incredible, man.
no.
I was really, really excited to see that you I mean, I remember sitting in my garage and you called me and you were like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna do this." And I was like, "You better do it. If you don't, you'll regret it." And you did it.
Yeah, and it's my thing now. I'm thinking about October going, I wanna do all 50. I really wanna do all 50 states in 1 month and do a full set at 250 pounds, and then we'll submit that one to Guinness for the world record. We still might submit the other one to Guinness, but
Well, I'll have to watch the highlight reels because the month of October, I'm pretty much unreachable. I'll be in the backcountry, probably hunting elk or deer or bear or
that's
fishing.
alright. That's
October's
alright.
my month of errand time,
That's
but
fine.
I support you. I support you fully, man. I think what everything that you're doing is awesome. It's fun to watch your growth from where I saw you 10 years ago until now, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that we've stayed connected.
Yeah.
I do have
Yeah,
to go
from,
pick up a pizza in about 15 minutes for my
we'll
kids.
wrap it up. We'll wrap it up here, man. No, it's been a crazy thing from leaving group to moving out here and then getting sober and starting my own thing. And now it's my own thing and I can create whatever it's as hard as I want to work. I tell people I have no peers. I have no competition. As hard as I want to work is it is as successful as I want to be. And
That's the
how much
dream.
do I want to give away of myself into my phone or into social media or into helping other people build their idea or platform or whatever they want to do? So I really don't have any goals. I just want to be fulfilled in whatever I'm doing. And I like what I'm doing and I like helping our community as much as I can. And if I can build a place where people can come on and talk, or at a very bare minimum, they can get better at talking. So when they go to a bigger show, they're that much better. And then I help
Yeah,
them be better at their ideas and just talking through things. So it's all
it's
a
valuable,
helpful
man.
thing.
I mean, I
So
remember my first podcast was terrifying, and then I went and spoke in front of 2,000 people, and every time you do it, you get better and you get more
yeah,
confident, and then you don't care as much about what people think, and you just talk, and you like, I don't even it doesn't even occur to me that we're on a podcast right now. I just feel like we're talking and this is normal, and,
this is normal. I'm going to start working with Adam on another venture that we're working on. Just as crazy. It really is.
you're constantly growing, man. That's
We'll
that's
see.
that's good enough, and I'm
We'll
glad you're
see,
fulfilled.
man.
And I mean, how blessed are we both to feel fulfilled in what we're doing? That's not always been the case for me and probably hasn't always been the case for you, and so I actually just picked up this journal. It's called The Successful Man, and it's really interesting. It's been fun to jot down some ideas and some goals, but the thing that I thought of the most as I was, engaging with it is that I'm already where I want to be in a lot of ways, and I can sustain those principles and the values that I've created for my foundation, but like I've gotten really far from where I was, and I'm super grateful for that. And I know who I am and I know where I want to go. And then I know what speed I want to go do that in. And I'm able to do that, which is a huge privilege. And I did a lot of work to create that opportunity for myself. And I see that you've kind of done the same for you. So, it's not always the case that guys can leave group or guys can leave the military and reinvent themselves. And that's what I do is I like to look out for those people just like, G Chief Leather, just like, what Kyle Steiner, the guys that, you've had on your podcast. It's so cool to see folks just transition into a bigger part of themselves and put good out into the world. That's not normal. I wish it was, but
We're going to affect what we can affect. And if I can affect some people and help them out, then that's what I'm going to do. But, there's enough negativity. So
oh,
I
there's
don't
plenty
want
of that to go around. We could talk about that for a long time, but I
to, yeah,
have disengaged with a lot of social media and the news just because all I can do is affect my sphere of influence and my environment and my community around me. And I realize that if I expose myself too much to the negativity, then it's like a disease. And then it
yep.
just festers into other parts of my life that it doesn't belong. And so I'm just doing what I can to put good into the world, provide for myself and my family, and see where it goes. And hopefully
Fuck yeah, man. The Aaron Blaine. How can everybody find you and Wild Ops Box on the socials if they so choose?
just look up Wild Ops Box on Instagram. It's pretty straightforward. And then check out wildopsbox.com. We're in the realm of our pre-sales, looking to launch within the next month or two. And so drop your email in, let me know you're interested. That gives me more of a scale on how much product to buy. And then when the product drops and we launch, if you're in, I'll have a box waiting for you on your doorstep. So
It's going to be interesting to see him roll out. Can't wait to see it. All right, brother. It was a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on the little one. And yeah, man, you got anything for me?
no, dude, just appreciate the time and the consistent connection and relationship that we've had since we've taken a long walk in the woods together. And yeah, I'm just going to keep enjoying watching you show up and do your thing. So you always got my number, and I'll keep supporting you as well.
Fuck yeah, man. That's what it's all about. Keep expanding the network. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. Bye, everybody.